Hi, I'm Ruthie, and welcome to Fifth Street Marketplace. Hope you enjoy our show.
Welcome to The View from the Fifth Street Marketplace. I'm Bobby Avery, your host. Joining me today, we have the owners, the proud owners of the Fifth Street Marketplace and Cafe, and that's Ruthie and Jerry Curley. Along with us, we have Lori Smith, Heidi Lashbaugh, and Judy Lucas. All have a part in making the Fifth Street Marketplace what it is today, a great place to shop, dine, explore, and just have fun. We thought it would be interesting for us to find out a little bit about the history of what was here before. So we're going to cover that. We're also going to talk about how the Fifth Street Marketplace came to be, and all here who took part in making it such a wonderful place, creating it so that people can enjoy it the minute that they walk in and experience what they have here. We're going to start out first with Jerry. Jerry, you want to tell us a little bit about the history here, what it was like on this property and the building?
Well, according to Bob Mitchell and Joe Lee Smith and Oscar Elmore, it used to be a grist mill years ago, which they ground corn and meal and ages ago, I guess what you would say. But then it was Tabor's Concrete Block Works, and in the shed in the bottom end of the building here.
Like right here?
Yeah, right in here.
Wow.
And then it was the Western Auto moved here from behind Mitchell's drugstore.
Uh-huh.
And in the early 1950s, and then I think Hubert Jared had owned it then, and then he sold it to Tommy Pelfrey in 1975, and then Tommy owned it for a few years and sold it, and that's kind of went set for a while, and then the Stones and Strons bought it to enlarge their parking lot for a trader plane. And then that's kind of where we came in. Medley's Carpet leased it from them for a while, and then some other things, and then it sat for a little while longer and kind of decayed a little bit, and then we bought it at auction. Mm-hmm. And started working on it.
I heard the Cumberland County Playhouse also had used this. They leased it too from them.
Yes.
Too, right? Mm-hmm. Now you bought it. What? How did that come about, Ruth? You want to tell us about that?
Well, I had the shop across the street in the Victorian house with the brick wall that Roger York used to have his attorney's office in. And my office just so happened to be right in front of, the window was right in front of this building. And on slow days through the winter, I would sit there like, what could I do with that building? I could do this and that and so forth. So anyway, my parents, Buddy and Hazel Page, they have Page's Auction and Realty, had got the listing to sell this at auction. Mm-hmm. From the Stones and the Strongs, and I told Jerry that we needed to go. He's like, oh no. And anyway, we came over and was here looking at the building, and he's like, you know, there's so much work to be done, and I don't see how we can do it. And you know, he's trying to push me off, but I'm a little bit pushy too, so kept on at him. And finally we came over here, and he decided that he'd start bidding on it. And he and a few others, and my dad had someone on the phone with another real estate agent that was bidding against us, and everybody thought it was my dad and the real estate guy bidding on it, but it wasn't. And then David Simcox got involved, and he had to bid on it a time or two. But anyway, Jerry's over there, and I'm like, one more time, and then finally he gave in. And he was like, oh boy, ever since.
Your work's still not done, is it?
No.
Now, at that time, Heidi and her mom, Frances, is it Hiller, were leasing the little brick building across the street for their business, Heartland Candles and Gifts, right?
Yes, yes.
And tell me how you introduced Heidi into coming over here and talking into having her business over here instead.
Well, Frances and Heidi have been there for several years renting from me, and when Frances kind of I guess gave the ideal to Heidi to start the renting the booth spaces with the crafters and so forth, that was kind of a thought that I'd had, but didn't really have anyone to fulfill the shoes, and because I can't do everything. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Heidi and I and Frances became pretty good friends, and after we bought it, I kept thinking, now how am I going to get Heidi over here? So I had the whole weekend to ponder this. So I wait on him to get in at 10 o'clock on Monday morning, and I go grab Heidi, and I said, you got to go with me. And she's like, where are we going? And I said, well, Jerry and I bought the building across the street. And she's like, oh, okay. So here we come trotting over, and it was in November. It was kind of cold and stuff. And on the way over here, I started telling Heidi, I said, it has no floors.
What floors it has is in the basement.
And just different things like that. And she's like, well, I'm not going. She says, oh, there's all kinds of varmints and critters and stuff in here.
And she bought it on a Saturday, and she brought me on Monday.
Yeah. So she was totally clueless about it. So anyway, I brought Heidi up to the porch, and she was kind of looking in the windows, and she's like, I am not going in there. So I had to pretty much drag her in, and from the front door up to the second level, there's like a 4-foot walkway with no side rails at all, and the floors on each side of the building are, you can look down here in the basement where we are now from the upstairs. Yeah. Whoa. So I had to pretty much get her by the hand and drag her through, and she's like this.
You could just walk from the front door to the upper level. You couldn't get off on any of the sides.
Okay, right. What were your thoughts then?
I said, you're going to move me in here? Okay. And we started working.
Now, evidently, there had to be a lot of work to be done. How did you start that, and where did you start?
Well, the first place we started was right here. We had to replace the half of the front room floor because it was in the upper floor was in the basement. So
okay, so she had to have the room to have her merchandise up there to do that. So how long did that take?
It took me about a month to replace the floor and work on some of the stuff upstairs and put ceiling fans and paint.
Now, this is all while you were working your other job also, right?
Full-time job.
Full-time job. And Ruthie, too.
Yeah, we both had a full-time job. Jerry works for the city of Crossville. He's the supervisor over the water district, the Meadow Park area.
Water treatment plant.
Water treatment plant, sorry.
Yeah, Jerry'd get off work, and Ruthie would close the place next door, and they'd come over here and work till dark.
We ate out of McDonald bags for quite a few months.
Okay, so it took several months then for that to happen, and then you moved everything over here.
Yeah,
right?
I think we officially, our first day opening here was in May. I believe it was.
I think so.
Yeah. So what? It was probably 5-6 months altogether getting.
And that was just in a certain part up there? Is that okay? So it was just in the front part?
It was the front part, and then they after they got the floor jacked up and replaced, they started working on the upstairs. And
it all came.
A lot of floor.
Yeah, it all came together about the same time.
Okay.
Because we had it all. They opened it all up at one time.
Oh, they did. Okay.
The upper level.
Now.
Yeah.
After your business over there, you had some merchants such as Judy was one of them over there, and then it allowed you to expand it here, right? So you had people to bring your merchandise here, and it was it on a consignment type of a
booth rental?
Booth rental, okay.
We only had maybe 6-8 people over there, and when we opened this, we had 22 booths.
Wow.
So we really expanded the amount of people. And we had a waiting list.
Yeah, and then we started adding shelving and showcases and so forth. So I think there actually became a lot more vendors than eventually.
But now your space also grew. from what you had over there.
Yeah, I had two
Yeah.
rooms over there, and then I rented the rest of the rooms out. And then I went to this whole 1,500 square foot just by myself.
And your mom.
Yeah.
Don't forget Mom.
Don't forget Mom. She's sitting over there. Hi, Mom. Okay, when did you start thinking about the lower level?
Well, we kind of decided that since we had the upstairs up and running and so forth, that we would wait probably, about 4 or 5 months, and then we waited until after Christmas and started the day after New Year's. Is that right?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Mhm.
We had it kind of opened the same about the next year. It opened around in June, and or we got it kind of ready by June.
Yeah, but that took us a long time too.
Yeah.
When we decided to start working on the bottom, well, Judy had went over to the other building where Heidi was, and before that, the artist corner before Heidi had moved in, the artist corner had it. And he had did some murals on the floor and so forth, and of course they were beautiful. But one of the murals consists of a lady that was half nude, so I got to meet Judy.
That's where I came in.
Yeah. Anyway, Judy and I became friends and I had asked her to paint some clothes on the couple of ladies that was on that floor. And then I saw what an artist that she really truly was.
Which she is.
And I got to thinking, what can I do down here? So I was sitting on those steps up there of evenings waiting on Jerry to come so that he and I could work on the bottom. What are you laughing?
A lot of evenings.
A lot of evenings I sit on those steps thinking, okay, what is this going to be? How are we going to do it? And anyway, I started seeing little buildings in here. So I started cutting out pictures out of magazines and stuff and brought them to Judy. And I told Judy, I said, I want all of these painted on these walls. And if we can't get it just exactly like it, we'll come close to it and put our own design and be our own creator of the spaces. And so anyway, Judy and I got together, and when I told her I wanted to paint the floors, which is
Looks like stone work.
yeah, Judy was like, yeah. Can we not just roll them out one color? No, I want it to look like rock, And so anyway, we got to working on the floors and stuff, and then Lori came in over at my shop.
Okay.
And Lori's been a customer of mine for quite a few years. Who knows how many years? Lori's a designer, and she would help people, remodel and do things with their homes and pick out furniture pieces and stuff for them. And anyway, I wanted to show Lori what I was doing over here and to see if she had any thoughts or ideals, and maybe to try to help me throw this together. And she walks in and she says, I told her, I'm thinking like maybe renting it out for a banquet hall or a restaurant or something like that. And she goes, well, Ruthie, this could make a fabulous gift shop, boutique, and so anyway, she talked me into it, to make a long story short.
Yeah, okay, and Lori, how did you do that? What was your thought when you walked down here and you saw that? Can you envision that as the shop?
Yeah, because I'd done for years remodeling and new construction design, so she showed me a little bit about some design ideas that she had for the walls, and then in my mind it was turning, and I thought this would be a good concept to do this sort of thing. And I said, restaurant's good too, but you could do both,
Oh, so that's where the restaurant came in.
Most definitely.
Nothing wrong with that.
So for the
she
restaurant,
encouraged
both
it. She encouraged it. I had the restaurant on my mind from the get-go.
Yeah.
But Lori, she encouraged me. She put me in the kitchen.
Yeah, she's just loving that you say that. But they have one or two really nice shops in Atlanta that have this similar concept, for which they have cafes on the inside. So I'd shown her some pictures of the place, like the one on Bennett Street in Atlanta, and told her that you can have both, you know, work together and see which one goes, you know, and they would work symbiotically to help one another. And so I think that's kind of, I mean, she already had it on the radar to do either a banquet hall or something like that. I just suggested maybe they could work in unison.
Yeah, which is a good idea because you brought a lot of unique things to the gift shop out there, the home decor and all. It's just amazing. Nobody has to travel to Nashville or Knoxville. They just right here, and you've done all the traveling for them. So that's really interesting. And now you said that you did the painting. That was mostly outside, the ideas for the boutique, right? It wasn't for in here until later on. Is that correct?
Right.
No, we only did the one when we were first thinking of a banquet hall or whatever, wasn't we? Just did the one mural at the very end.
We did
and
the
then
one
we
behind
were-
the counter, yeah.
Yeah,
And then we were painting just different
Yeah,
colors,
they were
getting
painting
ready
that while I was
to.
trying to redo the floors and redo the columns and,
Over half. You had to completely demolish over half the floor.
Yeah,
They
we-
had to use the jackhammer. again.
yeah, it
And
had
then
barn
what?
slide doors on both sides.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could push the door back a little bit and just come in and,
Yeah.
And I heard there was a lot of things left in here that you had to clear out, too. So you had to work with
yeah,
that,
there was
too.
quite a bit of
Yeah.
stuff left.
Yeah.
Spirit Broadband provides a bundle which includes 86 of the most popular TV channels, including high-definition local channels. This bundle includes up to 10 megs of broadband internet and unlimited long-distance phone service. The cost for our bundle is only $85 for the first year. Catch the Spirit and become part of our Spirit Broadband family.
Now, I shopped in your place a lot when it was over in the little brick building, and then I came over here, and you happened to tell me what they were doing downstairs. So I took a peek downstairs, and I saw Ruthie down there painting.
Oh, yes.
And I asked her, I said, did you get any pictures of this, of what it looked like? Because I would hear these stories. She would tell me about what it looked like before, and I'm going, did you get any pictures? And Ruth goes, no. So I asked if I could take some pictures. So this is Ruthie. I'm going to give you these. This is you on the scaffold and painting away where the stairway is, and where that is now.
boy.
We have you have a quaint little area of tables and so on that you had to put that there. First there were the home decor and gifts and so on there.
Oh, yeah.
But you had to open that up for more tables so that people could come in, because you're getting so busy now, to have like a little semi-private area for groups and so on.
Yeah, it's
So that looks
Times
quite
to
We
figure
different.
call
out.
that the garden room.
Yeah, and then I love that garden room. And there
Oh,
you
boy,
are up
Bobby.
there painting.
That's a good one there.
And then, he looked familiar?
Oh, yes.
And
Pretty
this is-
good-looking guy, don't you
Oh,
think?
very handsome.
I'm proud of him.
And here he is working away, and very handy too, look at that.
Yep.
And ever what's that game you all play? Is he good at that?
Bejeweled.
Bejeweled?
Yeah, I have to keep
And
his
this
hands off of it.
is, you all, I couldn't believe
Oh, yeah,
all they
now that-
had here up against the
that's a
walls and
mess
so on,
up,
what
isn't
they had to go through to clear this out. So,
Does that bring back memories?
and I did see your painting in the front there, and that was like a little cafe, Judy.
Pardon?
The little cafe. And I
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
that's
tell
when it
you,
was
when I
just
brought my
starting.
husband in here to see it, because I said, you got to see what they are doing there. He saw this from a distance, and he thought it was an actual door going in to sit at the tables because it looked so real.
Oh,
That's
cool,
how
thank
your
you.
painting is. So,
Can I interrupt one second? Where was this part at?
This
This
is
is-
in
this
here.
where
That was in
sitting.
here?
yeah. He was working
Where
in
was
the
the
kitchen.
floor? That's what you had to take out? Oh, no, that's the step going up into that.
Yeah, he had to bust all of that out, and he got my nephews to help wheel it out with wheelbarrows
part.
and stuff.
Yeah, it was a raised up part
That whole
over
height
here in the
over there.
corner.
Wow.
Now, that I was on.
That was before I was
May
in here.
25th,
Had to
2010,
be.
that I walked in, and then I came back in June 9th, 2010, and there's Lori. unpacking the boxes. And you're just in.
You would bring me down here.
Yeah, we had a lot of work, and you go through. And then I came back in August 5th, and everything was in its place. It was like magic. It was amazing how you knew where to place things and how interesting it was, the flow of it. So I'm going to share that. And then we had the counter where you had the jewelry and so on. And then we have a picture here of where the scaffold was, where you were painting, and that was where the gifts were. And we have,
a lot different, huh?
yes.
Well, now I'll have to admit, Bobby, there was a little bit of a conversation about you coming in taking pictures. Because when you came in and asked if you could take pictures, I was like, just a moment, please. And I came back here where Jerry was starting to build the bathrooms and stuff, and I said, Jerry, I said, I don't know this lady, but she's got a camera out here, and she's wanting to take pictures of this building and us working. I said, what do you think? She said, well, just let her go at it. You know, she can't hurt nothing.
Well, I just think it's a great record keeping. I'm so sorry that I wasn't here at the very beginning and knew about it at the very beginning to see what it actually was like so that you could have that. But that's what I wanted to give you. Anybody that put this much work into something like this, to see it, the just transformation is amazing with all of you and what you did here. Now, Judy, you're next.
Oh, okay.
And here I got you painting. And
Oh, yes, this is the one where I was, oh, okay. We had finally painted everything in here, and we got around to the point where we had this little corner left, and I said, what was it, you or I said, we need just to put a garden shop, because we had just run out of ideas, and I think I was tired.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
I'll tell you the truth, we were worn out, but
yeah, well, what amazed me, and it still does amaze me, is all that you have here. We have the Hotel Taylor's, which is right behind us. And then we have Mickey's Frame Shop, which is over there.
okay, now let's get the story going on here, though.
Okay, you get the story going.
Let you tell how we came up with the Hotel Taylor in here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, years ago, my dad and mom had bought the old Hotel Taylor. It had been sold at auction to
Francis
well,
and Harold, was it Harold?
anyways, they bought it. They bought it, and
She'll kill me for not remembering her name.
Dad had started a music store up by the Ford dealership on the little triangle. There used to be a building there by the church, by the
Strings and things.
and then he decided that he would expand, and he bought the old motel, and they started fixing it up and actually started living there. And
Oh, cool.
Know that.
it's,
I didn't either, so see, I'm glad we asked him this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
a little bit of the history.
When his mom and dad decided to sell and everything, I told Jerry, I said, we've got to have some little something from this hotel here. So Jerry picks up the arrow and he says, here's a room number.
That's the actual room number from the motel.
So we
yeah.
got the room number.
So that's what we put up there. We wrote the Hotel Taylor rooms, and people ask me, well, now is that where, and I'm like, yeah, but if you could find a room in there.
Now, I see something on the table which you'll find in hotels, and that's usually they have a Bible, but that's called the Book of
David.
And
now,
why?
that was Ruthie's idea. My husband, David, he's my soulmate.
Well, there seems to be a great deal of stories here, and both with what you did and the picture telling that you have and so on. I want to thank all of you for bringing the 5th Street Marketplace and Cafe to life. It is great to be here. You have certainly done an amazing job out there with all that you brought, and it's just, Christmas time's going to be just fun, isn't it, with all the gifts and everything that you're going to bring out there and the home decor. I think, and I think you'll do too, it's a true testimony of how a dream can become reality through someone else too, and through ideas, and how something old can become something new and exciting
Mhm.
with people who care about coming together and doing that.
That's
So that is what I see. It makes us appreciate what an asset the Fifth Street Marketplace and Cafe is to Crossville. And we thank you for bringing that here. We really do. We appreciate it, and we also appreciate TV3, Spirit Broadband,
Yes.
for giving us this opportunity to share this with you all. We hope that you've enjoyed this as much as we have, and invite you back to TV3, Spirit Broadband, again. In the meantime, come on in to Fifth Street Marketplace and Cafe and experience this for yourself. You never know what you're gonna find. You'll enjoy the specialty shops, the home decor, the gifts, and of course, the delicious food.
And desserts.
Yeah, the quiche. Everybody loves
Oh, the quiche and the chicken
Oh, I've
salad.
had the
and-
quiche like 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you again. Thank you, Spirit Broadband. Good day.
Bye.
We